Hello, you're tuning into the English News Bulletin here on VTV International for the latest updates and news here in Vietnam. We'll now take a look at the headlines at this hour. International press conference on security in the localities. The nation marks the 124th birthday of the late President Ho Chi Minh. And today, May 18th, is declared as the National Science and Technology Day. We'll now begin with the bulletin with a statement that says the Vietnamese government and local authorities will stand firm to ensure that the robbery and vandalism of foreign companies does not happen again. This statement was released by representatives of the Ministries of Public Security, Foreign Affairs, and Planning and Investment at an international press conference held in Hanoi on Saturday afternoon.
Đặng Minh Khôi, assistant to the Minister of Foreign Affairs, said the majority of people who marched in protest against China's unlawful installation of an oil rig in Vietnam's water were expressing their patriotism peacefully. However, in Bình Dương, Đồng Nai and Hà Tĩnh, a small number of troublesome individuals invoked workers to sabotage facilities and threaten foreigners' safety. Lieutenant General Hoàng Công Tư, head of Security Inspectorate of the Ministry of Public Security, said the ministry has filed lawsuits in relation to these incidents and has arrested hundreds of people. Unfortunately, the incident in Hà Tĩnh resulted in injury and the loss of life.
We feel for foreign investors. 2 Chinese were killed and 140 were wounded. The ministers and officials of public security have been directed to minimize the damages, and the wounded have been intensively cared for. We will investigate the situation and file criminal proceedings against the 300-plus individuals for crimes of sabotage and public disorder in accordance with the law.
The Ministry of Foreign Affairs also affirmed that the Vietnamese government never supported such lawless activities and has officially notified other countries of the situation. The government will apply every mechanism necessary to protect the assets and well-being of foreigners in Vietnam. Thankfully, the situation is now under control and most enterprises have resumed operations.
The Vietnamese government and people are ready to protect our sovereignty, and we request that China remove its oil rig. At the same time, the government will try its hardest to ensure safety and order and determine not to let similar incidents happen again. We suggest foreign enterprises continue operations, and necessary policies will be provided to support them.
Lieutenant General Hoàng Công Tư also asserted that the Vietnamese government completely resolved the situation and swiftly carried out mechanisms which have re-established security.
Our forces will carry out the directives of the Prime Minister and the Minister of Public Security to ensure similar incidents won't happen again, so foreign enterprises can operate safely in Vietnam.
On behalf of the Vietnamese government, ministerial representatives expressed their deepest regrets for what happened.
Taiwanese investors have been badly affected by the recent riots. They have been misunderstood, and they suffered serious damages. We'd like to share the burden of this loss with investors.
Regarding recent activities where China has unlawfully installed its oil rig, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs said Vietnam has made contact with Chinese officials and requested they withdraw their armed ship from Vietnam's sovereign waters. Vietnam's Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Ho Xuân Sơn traveled to Beijing recently to express Vietnam's viewpoint and the country's determination on this issue. However, to date, China has continued to refuse Vietnam's request, and so Vietnam must continue to defend its sovereignty by peaceful means.
Today, in the central province of Hà Tĩnh, police arrested 6 more people on charges of causing public disorder, destroying property, as well as stealing assets at Hưng Nghiệp Limited Liability Company. So far, Hà Tĩnh police have arrested 80 people involved in the riot in Vũng Áng Economic Zone. They're also continuing investigations on those who incited the riot and damaged property. Also today, border guards in Hà Tĩnh province arrested 10 people for causing public disorder. After the recent incident in Bình Dương, the People's Committee of the Ho Chi Minh City and the city's also labor union have intensified communication campaigns in a bid to improve laborers' awareness about the government's policy on sea and island sovereignty. This move is intended to bring an end to activities that could damage the productivity of enterprises.
This is a meeting between workers and the trade union of Tân Trào Industrial Zone. During this meeting, workers are updated on the latest situation in the EC. They are also instructed that at this moment, it is vital that patriotic displays are non-violent and restricted to focusing on production.
With the latest updates on the situation, workers will be made aware of the actual problems and not be distracted by rumors. When they feel secure, they can focus on being productive and can therefore earn a living for their own family. We only protest against foreign leaders and their unreasonable policies towards Vietnam. Foreign businessmen come here and bring us jobs and income, so we have no reason to damage the business. When we come to work, we earn a living for our family and bring prosperity to the country. Businesses also pay tax if they can earn a profit, so that's how we contribute to our homeland.
After the incident during which extremists triggered social disorder and the vandalism of investors' assets in Bình Dương, the trade union Ho Chi Minh City organized training courses for its members to build unity and raise awareness about government policy on sea and island sovereignty.
Activities like this will calm the workers down so they can focus on production and avoid protest. Now they understand that such activities go against the government's policy and damage the investment environment.
Production has now resumed in all 26 industrial and processing zones in Ho Chi Minh City. In many factories, 100% of workers are back to work. Patriotism is important, but how to show it without damaging the national image and investment environment is critical as well.
Voices of condemnation and concern over China's illegal EC actions, as well as support for Vietnam's position, continue to be raised both in and out of the country. More than 300 Vietnamese expatriates in Thailand gathered at the Vietnamese Consulate General in Khon Kaen of Thailand on Saturday to celebrate the 124th birthday of President Ho Chi Minh. While at the gathering, they were also updated on the latest events in the EC. They made an announcement opposing the Chinese authorities' violation of Vietnamese sovereignty and registering their support for the Vietnamese party and government's resolute policies to protect Vietnam's maritime sovereignty. They affirmed that they will always support Vietnam's government and people in the protection of Vietnam's maritime sovereignty. They also demanded that China remove its oil rig, Hải Dương 981, from Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. Earlier in the day, the Association of Vietnamese Students in Khon Kaen also held a conference to inform international friends about China's illegal deployment of an oil rig and armed ships in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf, violating the 1982 United Nations Convention on the Law of the Seas and also a DOC. In other news, now in Belgium, nearly 300 overseas Vietnamese gathered in front of the Chinese embassy in Belgium to oppose China's violation of Vietnam's sovereignty. They shouted slogans demanding China remove Ohrweg Hai Yang Shuyo 981 from Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. Chairman of the Association of Vietnamese People in Belgium, Huỳnh Công Mỹ, also confirmed that the patriotic and peace-loving Vietnamese people in Belgium denounced China's provocative acts in the EC. Many Belgian and also international friends joined this meeting of the Vietnamese community in Belgium to fight for justice. The Vietnamese community in Belgium will organize another meeting next week to protest against China's actions in front of the headquarters of various European Union organizations. The Vietnamese community in the Netherlands held a march protesting China's recent activities in the EC. And on Saturday in the city of The Hague, protesters walked from the central train station to the Chinese embassy, expressing their hope that the Chinese government will remove the Ohrweg that they have illegally placed in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone.
Over the course of the 3-kilometer route from The Hague Central Railway Station to the Chinese Embassy, the Vietnamese community marched through various tourism centers and areas with different embassies, distributing leaflets that fully detail China's aggressive moves in the Vietnamese EEZ.
I'm here to show my support for the Vietnamese. I think we must join them in protest against China's claim for rights in the EC, which is totally unreasonable. China is showing no respect for Vietnam's EEZ.
The march also stopped in front of the Hague International Court of Justice, where the war criminals are tried. The Hague is the political center of the Netherlands.
I think it's very bad what the Chinese are doing right now. And I hope the Chinese president will understand it. And I hope he will understand that it's no problem to admit your mistakes. You will not lose face by admitting your mistakes.
The Hague is where the Philippines filed against China's dubious claim that the 9-dash line, which covers 80% of the Southeast Asian Sea, had any basis in legality. However, China did not participate in the court proceedings or face the 4,000-page file that the Philippines handed to the court.
Chinese community members of the Cần Thơ City Friendship Organization Association expressed their opposition to China's illegal installation of an Ohrweg within Vietnam's waters. The meeting, which was held on Saturday, provided updates on the EC situation, as well as presented historic evidence about Vietnam's sovereignty over the Paracel and Spratly Islands. During the meeting, representatives of the Chinese community in Cần Thơ stated their objection to China's unlawful deployment of the drilling Ohrweg within Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. Participants all agreed on a peaceful resolution of the dispute based on the long-standing ties between the two countries. At present, over 20,000 Chinese people live in Cần Thơ and regard Vietnam as their second home. Now, many outstanding young Vietnamese have come to Tho Chu Island, which is 120 kilometers off the coast of Gien Giang province, to attend a groundbreaking ceremony for the construction of a new national flagpole. The flagpole is being built by the Vietnamese Student Development and Support Center, as well as the Vietnam Students Association. Once completed, it will stand as a monument affirming Vietnam's sovereignty over its islands.
Despite a long, tiring journey, the students arrived at the island filled with enthusiasm for the flagpole construction ceremony they were about to attend. The flagpole itself is being built on a strategic location, both geographically and military-wise, where the view stretches over the whole island.
This flagpole is a symbol of nation's sovereignty. Foreigners in Vietnam and international ships will see it and recognize the nation's sovereignty here.
The first flagpole by the Vietnam Students Association was built in Lý Sơn Island in Quảng Ngãi province last year. The new flagpole, which will be 20 meters high, comes with a price tag of $47,000. It will bear an inscription stating the name of the island and will have administrative boundary markers to uphold the sovereignty of Vietnam. The 900-plus students here who came for this ceremony may be far from the mainland, but it is clear to them that everything here is a part of their Vietnamese homeland.
The lives of people here are just like in the mainland, and now I feel like this island belongs to Vietnam.
Thổ Chu flagpole will be completed before the 9th of January 2015 to mark the celebration of Vietnamese Students' Day.
After this trip, the students will have a real experience to tell their friends. We hope that after these 1,000 students have visited, thousands of other students will come here and get a better awareness of their responsibility towards their country.
For the guards here, the island and the sea are as much their home as the mainland of Vietnam. And now that the young people have visited this place, they can feel it too.
Coming up here on our live edition of VTV News, nation marks the 124th birthday of late President Ho Chi Minh. And later on today, May 18th is declared as the National Science and Technology Day.
Vietnam's varied charms are boundless. They will awaken your senses to astonishing wonder. From sight to sound, from smell to taste, you will be touched in ways you've never thought possible. Vietnam is so charming, one visit is never enough.
You're back here on VTV News Live. A delegation from the party, State, National Assembly, and Vietnam Fatherland Front gathered at President Ho Chi Minh's mausoleum today to lay a wreath in honor of the late and great leader. Now, prominent at the ceremony marking President Ho Chi Minh's 124th birthday were Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng, State President Trương Tấn Sang, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng, and National Assembly Chairman Nguyễn Sinh Hùng. Delegations of officials from the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Public Security, and People's Council of Hanoi, as well as other ministries, agencies, and individuals also visited the Ho Chi Minh Mausoleum. They showed their deep respect and gratitude towards Uncle Ho for his great contribution to the national revolutionary cause. Now, a number of activities to celebrate the late president's 124th birthday were held in the city of St. Petersburg by the Vietnamese embassy in Russia. Attending the event were Vietnamese representatives, municipal authorities, as well as Vietnamese citizens living in St. Petersburg.
At the event, Mr. Igor Galinsky, Deputy Headmaster of St. Petersburg State University, stressed that President Ho was a prominent revolutionary, a national hero, and a great friend of Russia. Uncle Ho had a special affinity for St. Petersburg, as this was the first place he came to in Russia to seek ways to liberate his country. Deputy Director of the Ho Chi Minh National Institute, Nguyễn Tấn Giáp, summarized the activities of President Ho in Russia and stressed that the party, state, and people of Vietnam would always follow his teachings in consolidating and developing a mutual friendship with the Russian people. The Vietnamese in St. Petersburg also came here to express their respect and gratitude to President Ho. Art performances were organized by both Russian and Vietnamese students to praise President Ho Chi Minh's contributions, as well as the two countries in their long-lasting friendship.
According to the State Bank of Vietnam, SBV, the forex and gold markets remain stable despite the tensions in the EC. Moreover, banking activities are also normal and safe, it is reported, with smooth international transactions. The State Bank of Vietnam is currently monitoring and supervising all financial activities to ensure stable forex and gold markets, as well as maintaining high security for credit institutions and foreign branches in Vietnam. The State Bank of Vietnam also warned citizens not to listen to speculative rumors which might influence their investment decisions and needlessly cause financial damage. Vietnam enjoyed a $2.05 billion trade surplus in the first 4 months of the year. This is according to the General Statistics Office of Vietnam, announcing it on May 15th. Overall, exports in the first 4 months climbed up 19% year-on-year to end at $46 billion, while imports jumped up 12% to $44 billion. The trade surplus was nearly 3 times the figure of $683 million previously estimated by the Vietnam Ministry of Planning and Investment. The country's exports in April alone climbed to $13 billion, while imports tallied $12 billion. Foreign direct investment FDI enterprises continued to account for the high growth in exports. They grossed $29 billion in revenue for the first 4 months, which is a year-on-year increase of 23%, comprising of more than 62% of the country's total exports. Now, a ceremony to declare today, May 18th, as the National Science and Technology Day took place in Hanoi on Saturday morning. From now on, this day will be an occasion for scientists nationwide to showcase their scientific achievements and their progress in high-tech development. In a speech at the event, Prime Minister Nguyễn Tân Dũng suggested that there should be a boost in science and technology research. He said that this would serve national economic restructuring and increase efficiency in the high-tech intensive economic sector. Also, he asked scientists to build up development programs for maths, physics, and marine science through also private sector and state budget funding. On May 18th, back in 1963, the late President Ho Chi Minh, at the first National Congress of Vietnam's Association of Science and Engineering Promotion, stated that science and engineering are essential to the country's development. In the following now, it's our weekly edition of Week in Review.
According to the Vietnam Fishery Control Department, this week China continued to deploy dozens of vessels, including Coast Guard and patrol boats, tugs, warships, fishing vessels, as well as different aircraft to protect the illegal oil rig Hải Dương 981, which lies in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf. By creating a layered barrier, they blocked Vietnamese law enforcement ships from carrying out duties in Vietnam's waters. Even though on several occasions Chinese ships used water cannons or intentionally rammed into Vietnamese vessels to threaten or cause damage, the Vietnamese law enforcement force strictly used peaceful measures to affirm its sovereignty. China's illegal activities in the EC have been met with disapproval by organizations and individuals in Vietnam, as well as the international community. On Friday, General Martin Dempsey, chairman of the U.S. Joint Chief of Staff, said that the United States was seriously concerned about China's unilateral actions and called for resolution via diplomatic dialogue based on international law. Earlier this week, the European Union and ASEAN also released statements on the EC issue, stressing the need for peaceful measures.
The National Assembly's Standing Committee convened its 28th meeting in Hanoi this week to prepare for the upcoming session of the 13th National Assembly. The committee members commented on the government's supplementary report, which concerns the implementation of the 2013 socio-economic development and state budget plans. They also reviewed the country's performance since the beginning of 2014. Regarding the law-building work, they gave opinions to the National Assembly Organization Law, the Vietnam Nationality Law, and the Pharmacy Law.
This week, Myanmar Minister of Industry U Myong Mint met with Vietnamese investors looking to invest in Myanmar as part of his working visit to Vietnam. At the meeting, Vietnamese businesses asked Myanmar to issue a new investment guideline so investors can get easier access to the Myanmar market. For his part, the Myanmar minister affirmed that the country will continue to create favorable conditions for Vietnamese investors in the coming time. Also this week, the Vietnam Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the Confederation of Industry of the Czech Republic held a business forum in Hanoi. The event was attended by the Czech Minister of Industry and Trade, Giàn, and the representatives from 20 companies. The Czech minister confirmed that Vietnam is a priority trade partner and that there are ample opportunities for cooperation in various sectors.
Vietnamese Prime Minister has signed a decision to establish the Price Management Steering Committee, headed by Deputy Prime Minister Vũ Văn Ninh. The steering committee will help the Prime Minister to develop guidelines and make decisions regarding price management while giving directions to municipal and provincial agencies to solve problems related to prices of essential goods in order to control inflation and stabilize the macroeconomy.
A collection of documents from the Nguyen dynasty was officially recognized as a heritage artifact by UNESCO's Memory of the World Committee for Asia-Pacific, or MAOCAP. The announcement was made on Wednesday at the ongoing second session of the 6th General Meeting of the Memory of the World Committee for Asia-Pacific in Guangzhou, China. With notable value in content, appearance, and style, the Nguyen dynasty document was unanimously upheld by the judges. Following this recognition, the historic value of Nguyen dynasty's documents will get to many more people.
Wrapping up the news bulletin now is your updated weather forecast. And that has also wrapped up this edition of VTV News. We'll be back again in 3 hours for another updated bulletin. In the meantime, do log on to vtv4.vn for more updated news. Thank you for tuning in, and goodbye for now.